part of the Cape Breton identity, especially in the industrial Cape Breton area. The once ubiquitous company houses formed a major part of the cultural and visual identity of Cape Bretoners. On the verge of extinction, these workers' cottages are slowly disappearing, and many of the remaining company houses are falling into disrepair. Making them a perfect topic for abandoned Cape Breton. Between 1850 and 1920, company houses were constructed by large mining and steel companies to attract and house their workers. Whole towns were constructed in walking distance to work sites. I visited each of the communities that still have these historical homes, and some have fared better than others. Although I wasn't able to get inside any, as I refused to break into anything, I have put together this episode showing how they are falling apart in some communities and still thriving in others. Company houses spark the creative in their past and present homeowners, with their sometimes pastel-like colors, and each, though built alike, are as unique as the owners that have inhabited them. They are also a stark reminder of the happy times and painful moments in our social history. The multicultural people in these communities still refer to specific districts or area names after the coal mines rows upon rows of company houses were built for. Many of these areas today are severely depressed, such as the Hub or number 11 in Glace Bay, while others have demolished all the company houses, like 14 Yard in New Waterford, which now looks like a regular suburb anywhere else. Yet, other areas show how you can revitalize the old houses into modern homes. Over the years, the once simple structures have undergone many different remakes and refits as building codes and technologies have improved over time. Around the 1940s, the majority of the company houses were owned by the miners and steelworkers who had begun to install basements, plumbing, and the most modern heat sources as were available at the time. Of the ones that survive today, most are duplexes. The oldest ones still around are located in Sydney mines. Built in the 1840s, these long-row company houses were recently shortened on one end by a fire in 2023, and the center dwelling is abandoned while people still live in the others today. Though it may look like a slum, it is also a tacit reminder of the persistence and cooperative lifestyle of the past residents, and a piece of our shared history as Cape Bretoners. Those areas that suffer neglect soon give way to vandalism, and then arson. The Hub in Glace Bay is one such location. It is also named due to the semicircular outcroppings that once protruded from the location and resembled the hub of a wheel. First mined to provide coal for the fortress of Louisbourg, also known as Burnt Head due to a fire, it was home to many great fires and mining tragedies. In 1903, the Dominion Coal Company opened up Dominion No. 7, and later Dominion No. 20 nearby, and also where the Marconi Museum is today. The main slopes were driven a distance of 9,000 feet under the sea, and over 2 million long tons of coal were pulled from the ground here by the residents of these homes. Perhaps in even worse condition is number 11 area of Glace Bay. The Dominion at number 11 colliery was a room and pillar mine opened on the Emery Seam in the Passchendaele district of Glace Bay in 1899. The mine was closed in 1949 as the coal seam was interrupted with stone intrusions and pinch-outs, where the coal seams feather and disappear. During its life, the colliery produced a daily output of 1,920 tons of coal. The houses here bear the most neglect of any of the industrial Cape Breton company houses still standing. The decline of these urban hotspots is on full display in this section, some 70 years after the mine in close proximity has closed. One thing you don't see now that would have been around 100 years ago are the so-called honey lanes. Every company town layout had an access road 3 to 6 meters in width in the rear of the houses before modern plumbing, as backyard lavatories were the norm. These areas would become catch-alls for junk as well. The lavatories had to be visited regularly by a horse-drawn honey wagon, and each year the back alley was completely cleaned of the accumulated garbage. These pathways were owned by the Dominion Coal Company and later the federal government, and never transferred out of the federal inventory. People later built swimming pools, garages, and the like on these former honey lanes, and they were not aware that they didn't have clear title to the strips. The proud people of Glace Bay, Donkin, Sydney Mines, and New Waterford eventually had that property migrated to each homeowner in what was a 5-year legal process at no cost to them, nearly 80 years after miners began buying the homes from the company. One town that has revitalized the company houses is New Waterford. All of the abandoned and condemned homes have been scrapped, and the remaining company houses have been revitalized into modern dwellings. Mind you, they are still well over 100 years old, drafty, and buy at your own risk. Oh, and have fun with the insurance company. This is one I explored a few years ago, just before it was demolished. It was open to the elements, and as you can see, not a place I wanted to be for any length of time. I passed on going upstairs as I wasn't sure if the structure was sound or what I would find up there. But what I did see brought back some memories. Even though I have never been in this particular house before, I wondered how many families this was home to before it became an empty lot. My family grew up in one, and I lived in one myself. This one actually right here. The walls between the two units are paper thin, and you can hear what's going on next door pretty much all the time. My mom's neighbors and them would knock on the walls to announce birthdays. You just simply knock on the wall the number of times equal to your age to announce the celebration. To get an idea of their construction and what life was like inside one, it's easy to ask older relatives for stories and how they gathered around the hearth in the cold winter morning, waiting for the fire to be lit and coal poured into the burning kindling. One could also have a look at the census data at that time for how many people lived in these homes. Many were crowded by today's standards, with anywhere from 3 to 5 people sharing one of the small rooms. It was a crowded existence. Pictured here, the last few company houses still standing, built for the steel plant workers, are still homes for people of Sydney today, in Cape Breton's only port city. Although the steel plant is long since packed up, sold to China, and its toxic remnants have been cleaned up, the homes of these tradesmen and their families are still a fixture in this community. Although more than 1,500 units remain, the number is rapidly declining. Despite their importance to the industrial and social history of the region, not one company house or district of company houses has been given a municipal or provincial heritage designation. And that was a look at our Cape Breton company houses. Where will I go next on this beautiful island known for its stunning landscapes and rich history? Do you know of any abandoned sites you'd like to visit with me? Let me know in the comments, and hit that like and subscribe. Join me next time as we embark on a journey to uncover the mysteries hidden within abandoned Cape Breton.